Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Super Bowl is now over, and this team cooked during the Super Bowl. I'll be the first to say it. We hit some crazy bets we're going to have to go over today. Another part of business to take care of today is Steven's birthday. So if we can get some happy birthday Stevens in the chat, that would be awesome. Leader of the squad here. All right, let's bring in everyone here. We have got to unpack the situation from last night. We went up almost 64 units between the three of us. We hit some wild parlays here, and Steven just benefited from tailing me and Jake's picks.
Yeah, so that's what everyone should have done. I'm just consuming our own product.
Yes. Just showing the people how to get it done. I mean, this is just across the board pretty wild. Me and Jake both went 3-0 on our player props. Steven does go against us with heads. He does hit heads there, hits Justin Watson. We hit some crazy anytime touchdown bets, including MVS, anytime touchdown, Jennings, anytime touchdown as well, CMC first half touchdown, that cashed. So a lot on the board here. And then as far as the parlays went, I mean, Steven just went and parlayed all of me and Jake's player props, so that hits. The plus 850 hits. And then the big play here was Jake with Jair Brown, first pick, plus 3,500. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, guys. This was pretty elite stuff from the team.
You should have seen me going crazy at my girlfriend's brother's Super Bowl party, and everyone's staring at me. I'm like, is that Jair Brown? Is that Jair Brown? I think that's Jair Brown. They're like, what is going on over there? Like half the people I didn't even know before, and it was funny.
Yeah, no, that was wild. You should have seen me trying to convince the kids I was watching the Super Bowl with to take Elijah Mitchell over 3.5 rushing yards. And they were like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, you just got to trust the process. And he came out for us early, doubles over with 8 yards. Such an overachiever, Mitchell is. Love that for us.
But I played alt line over at 7 and would have got a lot of money there.
I know. All right, enough touting. Of course, there's still more work to be done as we head into the non-football season here. We'll be hitting a lot of heavy NBA as well. So today we'll go through the entire NBA slate, and then we will also hit some NHL here with John. So John, I think me and you should attack this here. We have a money line pick. We're back. Golden Knights again. They did well for us last week. We're going to try this again.
Yeah, we only have so many more days left of strictly NHL with college baseball starting on Friday. So I'm very excited about that. We're not going to make 64 units on this play, Mackenzie. I guarantee that right now. But we're going to go with the Golden Knights on the money line, minus 140 against the Wild. It's on ESPN at that minus 140 line. The Golden Knights have won 7 of their last 10 games, and they've won 4 in a row at home. They're 19-5-2 at home this season, while the Wild are just 10-12-2 on the road. The Golden Knights allowed just 2.2 goals per game against at home, and they score 3.3 at home. So I think the Golden Knights are going to come out hot. Maybe, I can understand the skepticism. Maybe people think that some of their players were at the game last night or watching a game, but we can also think the Wild were probably on the road and in Vegas last night as well. So they were doing the same thing and had the same opportunity. So I still like the Golden Knights on the money line at home.
I'm in on the Golden Knights. They were good to us. Not many NHL teams have been yet. So say less to me. I'm convinced here. Are the Golden Knights, were they the ones on the 17 game streak?
No, that was the Oilers. The Oilers won 16 in a row, and then they lost. And they lost, I think, again yesterday. So they've lost, I think, 2 out of the last 3 now after that streak.
All right. Fade time. I see. All right. Well, any other NHL questions, please feel free to ask John in the chat. I'm going to send him there. Get your NBA questions ready as well. We're going to go through our entire slate here with Steven and Jake. We're going to start with the Pacers, 11-point road favorites headed to Charlotte here. Miles Bridges, we're back to the 3-point props. We are so back. Oh, I have you muted, Steven.
Yeah, I was unfortunately trying to get him when he went 2 for 16 and 11-point outing versus Milwaukee, but he bounced back 11 for 13 with 2 for 3. So the over is very strong, 15-10 with nearly a 3.0 average, over that 25 game stretch. But he's come under 3 for his last 2 games. So I think he's kind of due to hit that 3. The over is 9-1 when he plays 40 plus minutes. And not that he's a guarantee to play 40 minutes, but he might play plenty with ball still out.
Mm-hmm. Jake, I totally forgot about your picks that you sent me, so you're just gonna have to chime in with the ones you got. I know you don't have anything in this game,
I have nothing in this game. Ouch,
Yeah.
ouch. And forgetting after I hit that plus 3,500. No.
Sorry, guys. My brain's just all over. Post Super Bowl Monday is a scary, scary day, except when you go up 63 units and things are a little bit better. All right, so we like Miles Bridges here from deep. Let's go to the Sixers headed to Cleveland here. This is a line you want to act on now. This has already gone up from 119, I believe, up to 120.5. But we do like the Cavs team total here.
Yeah, the model is at 124, so it's not a massive value. But if we only reported massive values, then the show would be around 30 seconds long. But Philly only allows 114 for the season, but that's up to 123.5 this last 8 games without Embiid. Cleveland put up 136 versus Sacramento and 128 versus Detroit, so they've been putting up a lot at home. There's no Cleveland players currently on the rotation or currently on the injury report. And Philly's their top defender arguably is Nicholas Batum, and he's out. Backup center Mo Bamba is a game-time decision, and DeAnthony Melton, who has a better defensive rating than Batum, is also out. So 3 of the better defenders, in addition to Embiid, are out.
Mm-hmm. Can we go to the model for this game? I'm kind of curious about some Sixers players in general. So other than Embiid, do we have any value on someone like Oubre or maybe a big Toby game? Every time I get the Toby gut feeling, he has a big game, but I never.
The player that also got me the other day was Paul Reed. And we don't have any value, but he with Bamba out, he had a massive game. I mean, he finished with 25 points, rebounds, and assists on a day that I had under 22.5 because he started the game with I think 11 in the first quarter, in the first few minutes. But he might be in for, if Bamba is out, he's a game time decision. He might be in for 30 minutes. And if so, that, the last 2 games, he scored 12 both games. So he could be at that 23 level with his line price at 18.5.
Okay. And then what about Max Strus? Nick was asking about in the chat here. His line is 8.5 points.
Yeah, Model loves Max Strus. I got a couple picks with him recently, but he's had a couple off nights, and not just off shooting, over 4, over 1 from 3, but only 5 field goal attempts in 2 games. Now, his last game he did well, but that was a big win over Toronto. So I didn't watch it that closely. I don't know how many of his shots and offense came in after the game was out of hand.
Mm-hmm. Another question here. I love all the questions we're getting. And if you guys could hit the like button as well as you're asking the questions, that would be great. Let's talk about Evan Mobley here in this spot. Points and rebounds line set at 22.5. I feel like he's not someone we've really talked about much.
We like that. We have it 23.5. Yeah, we have it 23.5. So I would grab that now. He has been playing pretty well, even though he's been capped at high 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's last 5. So definitely some value there.
Yeah. Derek coming in with the stats here. Evan Mobley, 4 double-doubles in the past 5 games as well. So that certainly can't hurt our cause here. All right, let's
move.
He
had 22 points the one game he didn't have a double-double. So there's that too.
And just on a side note, I would look at their futures. You can get some really good numbers for them to win the East. The model loves Cleveland, and because they're just as good on the road as they are at home. So and their East numbers are, I want to say, it's plus 3,500 to win the championship is the best price. So you could probably get them to win the East at plus 2,000 because Boston's such an overwhelming favorite.
Right. All right, let's move on to the Spurs headed to Toronto. I give ourselves a confusing, fishy-looking emoji here because it seems like the steam is headed towards the Spurs, but the public is on Toronto, and that's where things get a little confusing here. We still like Toronto here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that would go that way. I mean, neither team has been particularly impressive, but again, when I see a public number on the opposite side of the move, kind of bothers me. We still like the Toronto to cover, and you can get 5.5, so I would get that. I wouldn't love it at 6. The line is low. The spread's close because Toronto only shoots 33% on threes at home, and gets outshot by 4% at home. But on the road, they shoot 38%. So I think this is just one of those quirky stats, which is impacting the line, but is bound to regress to more of a balanced, 37% shooting on a consistent basis by Toronto. And San Antonio is probably the worst team in the league in terms of 3-point percentage differential road. They shoot 32 and allow 40.
Mm-hmm. I know, I think, Jake, you don't have any picks for this game as well, right?
No, I don't have anything, but I know a really popular Twitter pick for this, or X pick, is Wemby over 3.5 steals and blocks. I know Steven said at the beginning of the show in the chat that we have him projected for 4. So It's good value there. It probably all the people on it has probably moved it, so there's probably not as much value. But I can check OddsJam. I'll put it in the chat.
We should, what we should do, Jake, is we should start finding all like the hottest Prize Picks plays of the day as well, because sometimes that makes me want to fade them, considering the Prize Picks community sometimes. But they're definitely worth talking about if they're that popular. All right, let's move on to the Bulls headed to Atlanta here. We have some value on Chicago and some player props as well.
Yeah, I don't love. I mean, the model loves the value on Chicago, and it actually makes them favored because Atlanta for the season is just 8-19 against the spread at home and has a negative point differential. But they played much better at home recently. This is their point differentials in their recent home games. They lost to the Clippers by 5, and they were up in the second half in that game, but they beat Houston by 9, Golden State by 7, Phoenix by 9, Lakers by 16. So I would downgrade my confidence in Chicago at, based on Atlanta's recent stretch. But I do like Vucevic over 1.5 made threes at plus money. Model has him at 1.8. He averages slightly more made 3-pointers on the road. He's been in a season-long slump, shooting like under 28% from three. So, but he's career-wise is much better than that. And I think that he's showing some real confidence, and the team is showing confidence. He's had 4+ attempts in 7 straight games. Since January 5th, when he returned from missing 5 games, he's had at least 3. So we like him for around 5 attempts, and we're only projecting 35% shooting. But, so he just has to do a little bit better than projected to go 2 for 5 as opposed to 0-1. We like the probability of him going 5% better than 35% than, much less.
Yeah. Look, that's all I'm always looking for is volume. The volume's there at some point. It's going to have to start hitting. I like that 4+ attempts in that span as well. All right, let's move on. I know Jake has a player prop for the Knicks game. Not a ton of model value overall, but definitely want to hit this from Jake here.
Yeah, I'm actually fading one of my Knicks players, Precious Achiuwa, under 10.5 rebounds. It's moved to a 10 in a lot of places, but BetMGM had it -130 while it was at like -160 in some books at 10.5. So you're getting a lot of value there. The big thing is Isaiah Hartenstein is questionable, but Jericho Sims, who's missed last week with an illness, he's probable. So he should be back. And all he does is really rebound. That's pretty much all he's in there for. He's not going to shoot or do anything. And then when Hartenstein does play, I think Achiuwa is just like 2-16 on the over 10.5 rebounds. And one of those games was when Hartenstein left early. So 10.5 is just a little overinflated here. Yeah, and as Steven says, Josh Hart is a wagon for rebounds and assists, and Josh Hart just takes all these rebounds from these other players. I've been playing Josh Hart over rebounds and assists pretty much every game.
Yeah, it looks like Nick S is, per usual, on the same page as us here with Josh Hart. Do we have value on him this game for rebounds and assists?
We usually have him projected for 13, 14. So if he's at 14, we do.
Oh. No, we have
not now.
12. 12, a little over 12.
What kind of value is that on DiVincenzo over there? I can't read that far.
We have under 20. He has a 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists at this point, so that's pretty high. So
yeah.
But the thing is, his volume of shots has been insane in the last couple games, and especially 3-pointers.
But I figure with the trade, they brought in 2 shooters, right?
Yeah, and Burks was good on not a huge volume the other day, and Bogdanovic didn't shoot that well the other day, but
he took 10 shots, played a lot of minutes.
But he took some shots, so he should eat into a little of DiVincenzo's.
I'd probably stay away from any of the offensive numbers for the Knicks to see how the trade shakes out in rotations.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a little while before you figure out, especially when everyone gets healthy. But I think we'll know a lot more in 2 weeks, because I could see Bogdanovic, if he's not playing any defense, the Knicks lose. He could just be the new Fournier where he doesn't play at all.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm curious to see when we actually have enough data, like after the All-Star break, and see the actual impact of these trades, and maybe talk about some player props that are directly affected by that. All right, let's move on to Denver headed to Milwaukee here. I know we like a prop here. Jake also has a prop. He likes Brook Lopez over 11.5 points.
Yeah, Brook Lopez. Yeah, I got to ride with Brook Lopez. We have him at, I think, 12.7 points or something around that. And the line was at 12.5 in some books, 11.5 in others, and BetMGM had a really good price here. So I had to go with Brook Lopez, especially after, like, I think less than 2 weeks ago, he had 19 against Denver. So it's a good matchup for him at home as well.
Yeah, that pick and the one I like both tie into why we don't have confidence in the way the model likes Milwaukee, because Lillard and Giannis are game time decisions and Middleton is out. So I'm going with Jay Crowder over 12.5 points and rebounds. He really hasn't been in the rotation for the last 2 seasons as a Buck. The model has been over 16, but when he plays 18 games last season, 22 this season, he's averaged right on half a point in rebound per minute. And given the current state of the lineup and no Middleton, he's played 40, 37, and 30 minutes his last 4. So he should be secure for over 30 minutes. And his average points and rebounds per minute, that would put him at 15, 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, would you consider these act nows? I mean, between Lillard and Giannis, do we think one of them at least will be sitting? Like, I feel like these would be safe bets that you want to get on before we get news of any scratches.
I don't think people are, I think Jay Crowder's been out of sight, out of mind for a while. So I don't think there's any concern that people are going to start hammering his over, because he hasn't put up huge numbers despite playing all these minutes recently. He's only shooting under 32% on threes, but he's averaging over 5 3-point attempts. He's another guy that I'm expecting a better shot of shooting closer to 2 for 5 than 1 for 5.
Right. All right, let's move on to another game here. The Pelicans headed to Memphis. We finally get some Zion Williamson here.
Yeah, I'm not going to – we don't have value on his points, but we had value on both his rebounds and assists, and it's almost even money, just minus 103. It was plus money early in the morning, so that looks like it's steaming, so you might want to get that soon. Memphis doesn't have the size and bulk to deal with him. At the same time, Zion likes being a distributor. He had 10 assists the other night. Against the Lakers, he actually rebounded the ball with 9 to go along with 5 assists. He averages +1 more rebound and assists on the road than he does at home. The over is 12-8 on the road. His line is down because he's only averaging 9.5 the last 16 games. But last season, he averaged 11.6, so his average this season is much down. But he's up to 11.8 his last 4 games. So I just like the recent trend that he's getting back to where he was a year ago.
There we go. Yeah, hopefully we start to see more of that. I missed some questions in the chat here I want to use the model for quick. Going back to Denver here with Jamal Murray, his point line set at 23.5.
We only have 21.5 points for Murray, but yes.
What about Brandon Ingram headed back to the Pelicans game? PRA 36.5, which feels pretty high.
Yeah, we have under him. We only have 32 for Brandon Ingram. He's kind of all over the map. He's been loading up on assists recently. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. I haven't watched closely enough. Are they using him as like a point forward? What's the deal with his assists?
Yeah, I was looking into his assists because I saw that was a popular play on Prize Picks. His assist opportunities are way up, so they're using him more as a point forward.
But I don't like that. Yeah,
Jake, you have a Memphis prop here, don't you?
Yeah, I have John Conchar under 6.5 rebounds. It was at I'm looking at Odds Jam right now. It went from -125 to I think -145 on BetMGM, but you can still get it at -130 now on FanDuel. It's even up to -157 on Caesars. So you're getting good price on FanDuel at -130 on the under here. It's mostly fading. Conchar is coming off a huge 10 rebound game the other day, and he averages, I think he has 5.7 rebounds in our Sims, and he averages under 6. And we haven't played a ton of minutes, and this could be a blowout as well if New Orleans plays up to their high level. But I feel like a lot of New Orleans games, they either blow out a team or they get blown out. So this could be one of the games where they blow out Memphis, but it's just fading Conchar, who's coming off a big rebound game. I think it's a little too high at 6.5 right here, especially we haven't playing 33 minutes. And New Orleans on the road, they allow the 3rd fewest rebounds when they're on the road.
Wow, it's kind of an interesting stat there. All right, let's move on to Steven. This play really caught me off guard here. Moving on to the Wizards game headed to Dallas. Mr. Jordan Poole, you like over 13.5 points. Do you think this line has just been steamed down far too low and now we're getting some value?
Yeah, I mean, he faded. Like he had a big game when I had the Wizards under 109.5. They scored like 128. But he averages 2 more points on the road. He's hated at home. So he gets gun shy and he doesn't shoot well at home, but on the road, he's actually okay. 16.7 points per game on the road, 16 and 10 over this number. The line's low because of his bad stretch. Again, 2 and 4, they had a 0-point game with just 10.5 point average. But again, a lot of that was at home where he struggles big time. He was on a nice 8-2 run prior to that home stretch. So I like the fact he averages nearly 15 field goal attempts on the road. So he doesn't have to be particularly efficient to hit 13.5 points, 14 points.
Yeah, that's fair. Jake, you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, I played his under last game after he had 19 points the day before, but I don't mind it. That was at 16.5 the line after his 19-point game. But now that it's at 13.5, I don't mind an overplay at all. Yeah. We'll see. I know he likes to play well depending on the fans. So if there's some fans who are eyeing him, he'll play well. I'm not going to go too much into that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All right, let's move on. The Warriors headed to Utah. We got a lot of questions in the chat about Steph Curry's threes. This is line 5.5.
Yeah, that's really high. We have value on the under for there. We're well under 5.5. Utah is not a good 3-point defense, but I think it's just because there's just a lot. Golden State's healthy, not a mouths to feed. But yeah. I do like Kuminga to hit over. He's been playing awesome. He's been putting a lot of points up, even though he hasn't been shooting threes. So he hasn't made a 3 in his last 4 games, and he's only taken 6 attempts in 4 games. But I think the scouting report's going to start adjusting that. Maybe they'll start backing off him because he's been having success taking guys off the dribble and being active around the basket. So maybe it'll be like, hey, keep him out of the lane, keep him out of the paint. Try to see if you can make a 3 to keep you honest.
Big cheesy coming in. Jazz don't know what defense is, which certainly helps our Kuminga prop here. Kuminga, I feel like, has been good to us this season overall. Right?
I faded him when he was on a start of his hot streak and it crushed it. Utah is 26th in the league in defensive 3-point percentage. They allow 38.5%. So I'm hoping that he does get his 1.
The more you know. We just got stats and nuggets of information to just feed out here.
Yeah, and that's nothing to evaluate stats.
Yeah, Derek posts his haircut stats a lot. Like he averaged 12 points before his haircut, like not 21 after. Yeah, so he's
the haircut stats go crazy for Kuminga. We got to make a graphic on that. That's on me. Maybe I'll whip one up after tonight. All right, one more game to get through here, and act now play if you like the over. But Minnesota headed to LA 4.5-point home favorites.
Yeah, the line moved up by it was available at 222 at the same juice, and now it's 223. 3 hours later. The Minnesota road games are, they average a lot more, 225 plus 9 higher than our home games, over 16 and 12. Clippers shoot 40% on threes. Minnesota allows 4% higher 3-point shooting on the road. But Minnesota also oddly shoots better, a higher 3-point percentage on the road. They shoot 40%, which is a phenomenal one. So the model likes both teams to be able to hit threes at a higher rate to go for both teams to go over their team totals.
And then Jake also had a prop, because we always got a prop for these games here, going to Kawhi Leonard. An interesting outlook on Kawhi Leonard here.
Yeah, this prop kind of goes into Steven's play with the over. Kawhi averages 4.4 assists at home compared to, I think, 3.4 on the road. And it's hit in his last 7 games, over 3.5 assists. Hit in his last 7 home games. So I'm just going to ride with the hot hand at home, especially since it's weird because I feel like Steven's talked about this. Memphis's defense is a lot worse on the road, and sometimes the Bucks don't take that into account as much as they should. And so that's another play that goes into this. So maybe play the over with this as a kind of correlated same game parlay.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hit a little same game parlay. Yeah, we're certainly gonna start to make nothing crazy, nothing like our Super Bowl parlays, but definitely gonna start to get more involved with stuff like that. All right, before we hit the recap screen, we do have one college play from Jake here. Nothing crazy, just a nice little money line. Bucknell playing Lehigh, my dad's alma mater.
So we're fading your dad's alma mater right here. We're going with Bucknell minus 125 on the money line. If you want to go with minus 1.5 on the spread, we have them winning by 8. The big thing here is Bucknell is a 38% 3-point shooting team at home. And I think Lehigh gives up right around 38% on the road. So we have them with a close to 8% advantage shooting from downtown today. So good 3-point stats should help them, especially at home. So I like this play.
Simple enough. Again, we are getting closer and closer to March Madness than most people realize. I'm going to throw the recap screen up here. As we head into NBA All-Star break, Friday, I believe that is, we're going to start to talk about a lot of futures, talk about NFL draft or NBA futures that you want to hit post All-Star break. We'll talk about college baseball, college basketball. We have tons of futures and stuff to get through. If there's anything you guys specifically want to hear about that we can take advantage of during the lack of basketball that will be happening at the end of this week into next, please let us know. We want to help you guys out as much as we can. I will say, take these picks with a grain of salt. Okay, probably not likely we can go up 63 units again like we did last night, but gamble at your own risk is all I have to say. With that, good luck with all of your bets tonight. If you have any other questions, reach out to us on Twitter, and we will see all of you guys tomorrow.